G'day. I'm perhaps 10 minutes into an experiment to see different sorts of glues that I can use on this Jackaroo air mattress. These are the glues I'm looking at: the Coughlin's Air Stop, the Coughlin's vinyl repair tape. I'm using some I think it's rubber-backed material, probably Hypalon on the outside, I'm not sure. This is from a 1980s raft, and I'm using this PVC, which I have cut from a Best Way raft. Here is the Best Way raft. I've cut out the floor. I've now got a 500 gram boogie board, and I've discussed the applications of that in another video. The other glue that I'm using is going to be this Selleys Quick Grip. And up on this particular one, I used Selleys Shoe Goo. Okay, now I've got a list here. You can pause that and read it at your leisure, of the different experiments that I'm doing, and it sort of works like this. So this one here is the pinprick with the air stop. These two 1 centimetre cuts, well, I've done this 1 centimetre cut with the repair tape, this 1 centimetre cut with the shoe glue, and I'm in the middle of doing 3 more cuts up here, the 2 centimetre one, the 1 centimetre one, and here's a 1 centimetre one which I've yet to repair. Now what I've done is I've put some of this quick grip, smeared it around the outside of the 2 centimetre cut, and around the outside of the 1 centimetre cut, and I've got the materials here. Now this particular bit of material, I'll just use my right hand because that's got less. You're going here. So as I touch that, it's been now about 15 minutes, it's still feeling just a little bit damp. I'll try to get that really still for you. As I'm touching this, clean finger, it's moving ever so slightly, so it's still slightly tacky. So despite that was 15 minutes ago, this isn't yet ready to be put on that patch. Now I've also got the problem here that, this is rough as guts. I mean, I don't really care about it all that much, but I'm trying to clean up my fingers so I can do the tack test. Yeah, it's still a little bit tacky, but it's getting fairly close. There was a bit of a pool at this location here, and that's going to take longer to dry. I did wipe it down with a bit of tissue, just to get rid of the thicker layers of glue. The idea being that thin glue dries out faster. Now, Selleys is not recommended for PVC. What you're supposed to be using is air stop or a PVC glue. I have actually got some PVC glue, 250 mils of that from a plumber's shop. Don't ask why, but I'll only start experimenting with that if I really have to, on account of carrying it's a bit dicky. You need to find a container which doesn't dissolve, and if the container does dissolve in your pack, you're in a lot of trouble. These air stop bottles are glass because PVC glue works by dissolving PVC, and you don't want that glass to break inside your pack so that the glue starts dissolving your pack or the bags you're using for waterproofing. Okay, now a problem that I had using this strip of fabric which I cut from this location here from the Best Way raft, it was quite difficult to stop it from curling up. What I've done is laid it out, and I sort of deliberately put a bit of glue around the 4 corners to kind of stop it from curling up. For this patch here, that's the second on my list, I've been using this vinyl repair tape, and I looked away for a bit, and I kind of thought that was going to be okay, but this is massively curled up, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to use that. Alrighty. For this last one here, I'll see how it goes. Now, over here I just used this repair tape, and that's worked pretty well. The trouble is that I can peel it up with my fingers. When I put it on, I didn't quite get it down flat, and so there was this fairly obvious bend there. I've recently, just about 15 minutes ago, this has been on for a day. Sorry, I'm not holding that very well. I was able to get this up with my fingernails, but this Coughlin's repair tape has actually been really quite good, and it probably would be good for at least around about. It'll get you through the end of the day anyway. I'm not sure it's really going to be a permanent repair. You could be lucky with it though. Incidentally, with the air stop, this is just done on a pinprick, and that has been really good. I did 3 layers of that following the instructions on the bottle, which involves putting down a very thin layer. It comes, it comes with its own spatula, and so what you do is you put a very thin layer of that on the hole. I was fairly careful to feather it out. You then wait for 5 minutes, put a second layer and then a third layer. Because I really don't care about this particular air mattress, I wasn't terribly fussy about it. When I repaired this Sevillor Colossus, which had a couple of 3mm rips in it from a real-life excursion through dragging it through ferocious scrub, I did 5 layers of the air stop, and that seems to have done the job just fine. If I get time, I'll talk about how when you're using these PVC glues, you're actually doing a chemical weld. Have I got time? Yeah, I still got to wait for this to go. Okay, so let's talk about welding PVC together. The way PVC glues go is they're actually going... Okay, if I put some PVC on a patch cut out from this vinyl, if I put some of that air stop PVC glue and coat this fabric here and this fabric here, stick them together, then it's actually going to start melting both parts of the fabric. And while they're melted, before the solvent has evaporated, then the molecules in this patch material are able to move about and mingle with the molecules in the material that you're being patched, and so they're then going to form this interlocking bond between them. And then as the solvent evaporates, you're left with those PVC molecules that have intermingled with each other, and that's then forming a chemical bond. If you're doing it with PVC pipe, you're supposed to clean it with alcohol or a special cleaning method. I haven't been bothering with cleaning because I'm interested in what you can quickly do to get a good enough patch when you're out on the river. Look, I reckon I'll just let this contact adhesive keep on drying for a bit. I suspect this one's going to be stuffed in that it's probably glued to itself, but we'll see how we go. And what I might try doing, this is going to be particularly difficult to do one-handed, is see if I can actually use this air stop to glue up this little patch. So here we go, to glue up this particular patch. Now, actually just use this as a bit of backing so I don't stuff up my table here. I've got no idea how I should be best proceeding for this. But what I'll do is I'll peel off. Okay, so here we've got these vinyl repair patches. They come with this sort of paper backing, and oops, where are we? Here we go. With one hand, that's roughly lined up with the S in single, I'm going to peel off this particular patch. Now the way that, okay, here we go, 2 hands, 2 fingers necessary. Okay, so what I've just done is peel off that, I've peeled off this backing from this particular patch, and the way it's designed is that you just, where are we? Is that you just then stick this patch down, and that's what I did with this one up here, but I'm not completely happy with it. So instead what I'm going to have a go at doing is just painting the vinyl with air stop and see how that works any better. Okay, so here is my air stop. Just going to paint that around here, and thin layers. So, I'm a little bit concerned as to what to do, because I'm going to be putting this air stop underneath a waterproof, airproof bit of fabric. So I'm not quite sure just how readily it's going to be able to have the solvent evaporating. So one of the things that I'm getting at there is that for this to work reasonably quickly, you have to be able to have the solvent evaporating. Until that solvent has evaporated, then the molecules will still be floating around and you're not going to be getting a chemical bond. So this particular last method that I'm using here, of using air stop along with PVC, with a PVC patch, I wouldn't expect it to work until it's had some hours for all of the solvent to somehow manage to evaporate. But here we go, I'll stick that down. I could do it with a camera in person, couldn't I? Sort of. Okay, that's by no means the bee's knees. In fact, I think that the top left-hand corner is not properly coated with the air stop, so that'll be an interesting test to see how that matters. But in the meantime, I'm just going to push it down as hard as I can, to a certain extent, given that this Coughlin's vinyl repair tape patch has actually got its own glue on the back of it. I may be able to get away with that anyway. So I will be curious to know whether this is a better solution. I don't remember the prices. I got these from Harvey Norman online. That's the only way, apparently, that I've been able to find them sold. You can't order in the air stop from Amazon because I don't know that they're particularly keen on selling these, shipping these glass bottles. If they break, I don't know, the whole aeroplane melts. I think the air stop was $7. I think these patches were maybe $2, and shipping $10. And when they first shipped it, they forgot to put in the air stop. Presumably, when this stuff arrived, it arrived in a huge box about 20 centimeters cubed, with a mile of packaging around it. Okay, well anyway, that is, we'll see how that goes. I have no expectations of that actually being reliable until later on. This particular patch here with the shoe glue and this probably rubberized Hypalon material has worked fine. The only trouble is that because this material is fairly thick, snags coming along the side of that are likely to catch into it. And I have tried to lift this up with my fingernail. With a lot of effort I can actually peel that away from the fingernail, but I was pretty impressed by the shoe glue. I wouldn't expect there to be a lot of difference between the quick grip and the shoe glue. I'm suspecting it's product differentiation. That's not terribly meaningful. I mean, if this quick grip is okay for wetsuits and bicycle tubes, it implies that it has to be reasonably flexible. I really don't know why these should be so different. Okay, well, let's actually... Yeah, so let's have a go at actually using the quick grip along with the PVC. This, in theory, is not supposed to work, so if it does, I'll be quite happy. In that for $15 I've got as much patching material as you can poke a stick at. Whereas not everybody can get their hands on 1980s Hyperlon, so that's why I'm doing this experiment just for the World Wide Web in terms of figuring out how you can use available materials. Okay, so I'm a bit nervous of trying to do this. I'll probably have to put the camera halfway down, but here's my cut. And using the tack test, yeah, so it's still a bit sticky, but it's more or less dry. So let's have a go. Now the thing when it comes to contact cement is that you only get one go at positioning this. This is why it is that I have smeared a whole bunch of extra stuff around. Okay, so the amount of smearing that I've done on the airbed is far larger than the size of the patch. The reason for that is once I start sticking this down, I cannot reposition the patch, and so that's why you have to have a fair bit of excess around the outside. Once I've got it on, I'll be able to wipe it down. But in the meantime, okay. So, one-handed. This is almost doomed to failure trying to do it one-handed, but let's see what I can do. Okay, so I've sort of turned that inside out, sticking that down there, and we have contact. Okay, I've got some stuff on my fingers. You eventually run out of clean fingers. I'm sure there'd be all sorts of rules as... Oops, can't use that. Here we go. Maybe you get somebody from your party who's actually got clean fingers to do this part. Okay, it's kind of, one thing that's kind of useful, I'm not sure if you're able to see this, but I can actually see through the Coughlin's vinyl repair tape, and so I'm able to see where it's kind of looking wet and saturated. Are you able to see that? In this darker part here is where I've been pushing down, and as I go through here, whoops, that's sorted. As I go through here, pushing it down, it goes from this lighter red colour to this darker red colour. So maybe it is actually possible to use the Sellies with PVC. I rang up Sellies and asked their advice for repairing the Sevillor, and they just said, oh, you don't know about repairing PVC and Sevillor, go and speak to their guys. I haven't really, the only advice I've got from them is to use my air stop at $7 a bottle compared to, I don't know, $7 from this at a lot of supermarkets, or about $5 for half a litre of this stuff at TradeLink or some other place that supplies plumbers. Now mind you, if I was going to be using plumber's glue, which is designed for those rigid white PVC pipes that you'll see under kitchen sinks everywhere, you've got a massive problem on account of I don't know how fast the stuff glues. I don't know how strong the solvent is. So the problem you've got is that you might be dabbing it on your $49 raft, and it's eating it away and weakening it. So if you're going to be using plumber's PVC, you would absolutely have to experiment with what sort of quantities to use. With the air stop, it seems to sort of have something that you can be using to bulk it out, because like I said, when I was applying this stuff, you put on some extra layers. It's not just dissolving this particular area, but it seems to actually have a few PVC molecules in it, so that you're actually adding some bulk to it. I don't know if PVC glue from plumbers has that function, or if it purely works as a solvent to dissolve the two adjacent layers. So a fair bit of experimenting would be required before you can get that right. That's why I'm kind of happy if I'm able to use contact cement for repairing PVC, then we've got ourselves a viable solution. You can't go into the middle of wilderness and not be able to repair your raft or your lilo with something that's going to work. Coming back to this experiment here, it's not looking too good, is it? I think that was kind of